Okay, here we are, you guys. We find ourselves today in the all-new, from the ground up 2022 Acura MDX. And the biggest tell of all the changes you're about to see in this video is that Acura took a break. They went straight from 2020. You know what? Maybe COVID had something to do with that. People had a little bit of a wake up. And next thing you know, here we are with the 2022 Acura MDX, better than ever. And after driving this for a bit for the last few days, I found there's more here on the surface than you initially get from the just kind of brochure or reading the specs online. So under the hood is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, which again is not what a lot of the other manufacturers are doing in this segment. A lot of manufacturers have gone turbo, which you guys know, I love turbochargers. I love feeling that rush of torque in certain driving scenarios, especially if you want to rip donuts or drift or do big burnouts or scare your friends in a high horsepower car. But a lot of other SUVs have done that for one, emissions, two, for low end, low range torque, and three, just because they can say they have a turbo on their car. We've seen this in various naming scenarios with different manufacturers such as Ford and the EcoBoost, which is just another way of saying, hey, look, we've got a turbo under the hood. We'll toss it into sport first of all. We also have snow, comfort, and normal, but those are all kind of very specific to driving scenarios. I don't like to drive normally most of the time, so sport is pretty good. And then if you go down here and hit the DS button, you're gonna get sport, and shifting with the paddles becomes available with that 10-speed automatic transmission. Acura has been able to retain something that a lot of these manufacturers have lost, and that is a connection, an inherent connection between the driver and the vehicle dynamics, and how your throttle, your foot, interacts with the throttle, and then how that in turn sends the power to the wheels. And there's a number of ways which Acura goes about doing this. First is, like I said, the NA engine. Second is with an incredibly responsive 10-speed transmission. If you are using the paddles, I found I only really tend to stay in the first 4 gears. It's, you know, if you leave it in automatic, you have those 10 speeds for highway cruising and when you really need that fuel economy, or at least the most you're going to squeeze out of the 3.5 liter. I believe it's rated at about 19 miles per gallon in the city and 25 miles per gallon on the highway, which, not terrible, not terrible, but definitely not the best in this segment. So you really kind of have to weigh the positives and the negatives in terms of your own driving style and what you want out of a 7-passenger SUV like this. So 290 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque. Also, Acura had this wonderful little short clip, 3-minute video made showing, I found this kind of entertaining to watch and to see, this vehicle towing a Acura NSX on the back, just to kind of demonstrate that yes, the MDX is, obviously Acura is Honda's luxury brand, and the MDX is their ultimate 7-row luxury SUV, but that it is also extremely utilitarian and can tow up to 5,000 pounds, which matches basically all of the other kind of SUVs in the segment as well. So looks can sometimes be deceiving, and they are somewhat here in the MDX. Okay, you guys, here it is, the 2022 Acura MDX Platinum Elite. The base model of this new MDX starts at $56,000 Canadian. This one fully spec'd out here sits right around $67,000 Canadian. Now there's a few differences. There's a few big differences on the outside here when compared to the 3rd generation or outgoing model of the MDX. Here we have brand new headlights. They've been basically halved in size when compared to the outgoing ones. We also have these LED fog lights down here, which you do not get on either the base model, the Tech, or I think you get them on the A-spec, I'm not too sure. Coming around to the side here, you do get these exclusive wheels for the Platinum Elite. This one we have here, because we are on the west coast of Canada and in March, that doesn't necessarily mean warm weather. This one's fitted with Michelin X-Ice 20-inch wheels. We'll come right around to the side here. This is the first 3-row SUV that we've filmed here on Roads Untraveled. They've included this really cool one-touch button system. So as you can see down here, we've got a button there and a button on the top here, and you hit that and the seat already, automatically comes forward and you can hop right in, push that back, and the center seat here is also completely removable. So not only can you just put it down and there's a fat armrest in there, plenty of room to put your phone or snacks or whatever you have, or you can remove it completely, and then your second row here gets an immense amount of legroom. Now standard on, I believe, the Tech and the A-spec are all of the charging ports and heated seats you get in the second row, but what you only get on the Platinum Elite here, as we open up the back, is USB-C charging ports for the 3rd row. So you only get that on the Platinum Elite. I sat back here, not a whole lot of room. I personally could, size me up. I could fit back here for, a long-ish road trip, maybe 3-4 hours. Anything more than that might get a little tedious. And then back here, get rid of all our equipment here. We do have a little bit of extra storage down here. As you can see here, this either just tilts up or completely removes. You have some storage there. You've got your normal jack and stuff. And here you've got another 12-volt outlet. And you actually do have a full regular outlet in the second row. So you can straight up, you don't need an inverter. You can straight up just plug in like a coffee maker if you wanted to into the second row, which is pretty cool. But those are just a few of the features on the 2022 Acura MDX. Of course, here in Canada, I believe all of them come base spec'd with the SH all-wheel drive. So let's get back in the MDX and finish up the review. So with that, you do get genuine wood trim here on the interior. You have nice leather trim all here. You do actually have this crazy 12.3 inch center display here, center screen here, which is, oh my God, so beyond what Acura was putting in. Even the first press cars we got a couple of years ago with the TSX, or no, and the ILX too. We also have a heads-up display, a color heads-up display, which I believe is only on the Platinum Elite. There's a few options that you only get with the Platinum Elite, and I believe that's one of them. Yeah, you really want to be way up top, close to 6,000-7,000 RPM to get the most out of the V6. I personally love it. And you guys, you're watching Roads Untraveled. You already know this. I'm an enthusiast at heart. I love driving itself. I love rolling through the gears, and I love motorsport. So to see Acura go ahead and put a power monitor there on the left side and the tax center stage, right? And to put all the power up at the top end still, just like in all the other greatest Hondas of all time, it makes me feel very optimistic about the future of Honda and the future of Acura. Even to see it like this and to get that feeling out of their largest SUV. And I hate SUVs. I drove a G-Wagon once, a G63 AMG. That was fun, that's like a statement. But in general, I would never really buy an SUV unless I was going off-road. But I know a lot of you, if you have families, you're getting these as dailies. But I'm here to tell you that this is more catered to the back road enthusiast. And another big tell of this, as far as physical changes in the vehicle from the previous generation MDX, is the fact that the front suspension is now no longer a McPherson strut setup, and it is a double wishbone setup. But I mean, 290 horsepower, it's nice to see here. It's actually really quick. It's actually really quick. But again, you gotta work for the speed. This isn't gonna blow any records as far as straight line acceleration. I don't believe there's a launch control on the MDX either, but it does not need it because Acura has already announced the Type S version of this coming. It's got a sick quad exhaust, it looks the part, and it's going to have a twin turbo 3-liter V6 under the hood. Acura says that one is going to make around 355 horsepower. Yeah, you know, a lot of these videos are getting huge views with X5M and other SUVs that have insane launch control capabilities. That's not what Acura is after here. But you need to know here that if you take this on a quick test drive, you're not going to feel that really low-end torque that you do from some of these other turbo engines. And that really just comes down to personal preference and your own driving style. Peak torque, I believe, is right around 4,600 RPM. So it is right in the middle of the power band. Overall, I've had a great time with the MDX. I've actually been surprised, and I think looking back at driving the new TLX that we reviewed a couple months back, the whole ethos of what Acura's bringing into their modern lineup is going to pay dividends, absolutely. And they've even brought over some of the kind of things that the Europeans really went nuts on, like the interior mood lighting that I remember most notably from when we drove the X5M. There was a bunch of options for changing interior lighting and stuff, and you do get that here on the Platinum Elite. The one thing I will say about the infotainment here, and the screen is nice. The screen's a huge improvement, visually speaking, over the previous Acuras. But as far as the touchpad here that they kind of borrowed from Lexus, which I first saw in the RCF, I believe. And you can get used to it to a certain extent, but I just don't see it being the future. It totally works. Like when you go into navigation here, when I was plugging in an address the other day, you go find, you go search. The default is to like use it as a number pad. So you can go S1 and it gets it, 5, and then you type it in. When you're driving, wow, I just spelled out S15. Sylvia, JDM Life. So that's that. It works. Is it for everyone? Probably not. But like I said, you don't have to use that little drawing feature if you don't want. And if you take the time, it's really not a deal breaker here. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the all-new 2022 Acura MDX Platinum Elite. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you have not already. We've got a bunch of really cool videos coming out as well. Next month, it's looking like we'll be in Edmonton shooting a bunch more of those Fast and Furious cars you guys seem to like so much. If you haven't watched that series, all the links are down below. Hit me up on Instagram at Roads Untraveled. If you're here in BC, this summer is going to be nuts. So shoot me a DM if you got something really cool and interesting you want featured on the show, or you want me to drive and check out. And yeah, that's that. We'll see you next time.